matter how much money we spend.
That's absolutely true.
If that message is filled with, we have a great staff and there's free parking, none of us really care. Sorry.
It's true. Actually, as you were talking about some of the things that you look at with the messaging, if I think of the KEG and how they say it and when they advertise it, especially on the radio. So they don't advertise on Monday, Tuesday, I don't know, they might start on Wednesday, but for sure they don't advertise. And by Thursday and Friday, that's when they advertise, that's really where they put their advertising dollar. You're driving home, it's the time, it's the right message to the right audience at the right time. It's a hot day, watch what happens tomorrow. I bet the KEG will have ads on that radio station. Get out on a patio, great steaks, fun with friends, this is it, you're done with work, it's party time, it's time to relax. And that's where they spend their money, and that's the type of messaging that they're saying is the KEG is the place to relax and enjoy and treat yourself after a hard day work and hang out with friends, so yeah.
And the opposite to that would be Friday, Saturday are not the days to do your debt refund restructuring. Monday morning.
Yes. After you've picked up the bill. Yes, your friends, and the KEG after the
Worry about it on
the
Monday.
shooters, yeah. Budget. So again, you're going to prepare your budget for the year. You're going to decide, this is what I'm going to spend this year. You're going to look at your calendar, and you're going to break it down over the different campaigns or promotions or activities that you have going on. Now that's not saying that during the year something might pop up that you want to be part of. There might be a charity event that happens to be particularly close to your heart that you really want to be part of. But now you can look at your budget and say, you know what? I do have this extra money. Sales were really good of chocolates over Mother's Day. And so, you know what? I'm going to take some of that because I want to go into this food trade show, or I want to sponsor this event. Or you can also look at it and say, you know what? I can take something from this and move it over here, and I'm still okay there. So again, having a year-long plan helps you with your budgeting. And when people phone you and say, hey, we've got this great deal, do you want to advertise with us? You can say, call me in February because my budget for this year is done, but I'm open to new ideas if you come and visit me in February. It's a great way to, sorry salespeople, but it's a great way to say,
We are aware of.
you have a note of when everyone's new budget is coming out. Exactly.
See, well, in a business like mine, I have lots of people who come for requests for donations.
Yes.
So in the month of April, I had 9 requests.
Well,
So we want to participate in all things going on in our community, but yes, we have to say, no, we can't support them all, but they're all equally as important because they're all fundraisers.
yeah.
So it's not, you would think more just like the socials type of thing, but there's lots of organizations that are looking for donations in all different capacities, whether that be food donations or gift certificates or our time. There's lots and lots, so it makes it a challenge when we do have a budget in mind, or we have kind of what we want to support and the things that are close to our heart, but then we have 9 people asking for donations, so you don't want to turn everyone away, you want to help them all.
Exactly. I think if those are groups that are going to be around next year and the year after, you can let them know that your budget for this year is taken or spoken for, but to please put the request in next year because you really like what they're doing.
Well, that's what
and like
happens
you're
often
part
is
of it.
that you say yes, and then the next year, then they say, okay, well, you supported our golf tournament last year, so now you're going to support us again, right? Or you supported the Y Run last year, so now you're going to support it again. So it varies between,
It does.
different
And that
levels of
business,
support.
yeah, exactly. It's so true. I think so many of us as small business owners have really felt that. And that's where, again, looking at your budget and knowing how much can you actually spend, how many of those organizations or fundraisers can you really be part of, and at what level. And part of your evaluation for that is what do you get back from it? So you're giving them a sponsorship, but are they giving you back in return good logo placement? Are you able to put coupons or handouts on place settings? Do you have a presence? Do you get to have a booth or a pull-up banner? Do you have a presence on their website? you can sort of evaluate, and you need to evaluate what is the return on that investment, because that is part of your advertising investment. And when you look at your strategy for that, what are the objectives from this charitable event? And each of them, you're going to sort of look at that or group them together. What is the messaging, etc.? Are these people that are your potential target market? That's huge. If it's not a group that's particularly close to your heart, and I would say pick one, maybe two. And when I say close to your heart, that is, if you have family members who are hemophiliacs, then you might say, okay, that's it. I'm going to always be a part of whatever goes on with the Hemophiliac Society or the Child Bird Fund or whatever it is that's yours. You pick one. The rest of them might be good causes, but you need to evaluate, what am I getting back for that? Is that my target market? So you might like one of those charities and think, well, that's a really great cause. Trying to think of something randomly. Maybe a pet shelter, for instance. But absolutely none of your clients... Oh, bye.
Okay, so I thought you would feel like this beer right now.
Sorry. I'm trying to think of what's out there. But absolutely none of your target market goes to that event. So you're not touching anybody who's then going to do business with you. And so it may be a really good cause, but it's not a good marriage for you. It's not a good fit for what you're doing. What is your business?
It's a restaurant catering service.
Okay, so, yeah, so you never know. So if it was, for instance, the pet rescue shelter, are the people that are going to be there the people that would be coming to your restaurant or using your catering services? If not, and then it might not be the right fit for you, no matter how much you care, because the 3 pets that you have all came from a pet rescue shelter, but maybe not that one, right? Okay, does that kind of make sense? So you need to evaluate what is the fit for you, and at the end of the day, is it going to put money in your cash register? Because as much as we're all really passionate about what we do, at the end of the day, we're in business to make money. We get to do it through ways that we are really super passionate about, like Walk the Walk. She's passionate about what she does with dogs, so she gets to earn a living. Bonus, football players get to play football and earn a living from it. Although hockey players might not think that football living is a living. But really at the end of the day, you're making money. That's the important thing. Delivery. So how are you going to deliver your message? And we've broken this down into 3 groups. You have traditional. Often the digital and online is called non-traditional, but in this case I've separated it out again. So you have traditional, which is radio, television. We're going to go a little bit more into that. Digital and online, and non-traditional, which we'll talk about. So traditional, I've grouped in this television, cinema, radio, print, outdoor, which is bus benches, billboards, bus shelters, anything that's outdoor advertising. That would also include poster boards in shopping malls, etc. Your signage on the front of your building and your sandwich board that might say your open and pedicures are $25 today. Direct mail, which would be catalogs, flyers, and undirected mail drops where you're just posting it to everyone in a certain neighborhood. I may have missed some, but those are some of the traditional advertising platforms that we look at. So you need to look at which ones of these are you going to use to deliver your message. So again, what is everyone watching? If you're looking at farm equipment, for instance, you might say, well, you know what? All of my customers, the one thing that they all do is watch the Stanley Cup. So it might be worthwhile for you to take advertising on the Stanley Cup in your region. So with television, just because it's a nationally aired program doesn't mean you have to buy advertising from Newfoundland to Victoria. So, right? So you have to look at where are the most of your eyes or ears. Digital and online would include websites. So are you promoting is your campaign running on your own website? Are you driving people that get to your website to do what you want them to do, buy chocolates for Mother's Day, whatever it might be, look at used hockey equipment for the upcoming season? Digital advertising, are you advertising on radio station websites? Are you advertising on other businesses' websites that sell banner ads? Social media, how are you using your social media to promote business, to drive your campaign? So once you might have a social media presence, but now what are you going to do to actually put the power behind your campaign? Databases and online listings. Are you registered in databases? Are you part of online lists? Restaurants and catering, you probably are part of different databases and online listings. Forums, there's some gamers, game companies that make games would definitely use forums to promote their product. And email marketing, which is a whole big industry. And then we have non-traditional. So what I've grouped in non-traditional are things like trade shows, sponsorships, product demonstrations. So your farm equipment, are you going to hold a big demonstration on someone's farm, invite all of your potential retailers in the area to come out and look at your equipment and see how it goes? Competitions and contests. Are you going to put on a big contest? Are you going to sponsor a competition? If you're that skateboard making company, are you going to actually put on a competition that will bring about awareness and drive interest in your business and your boards? Or speaking engagements. If you have an opportunity as a business owner to talk about what you do, that's a great way of driving awareness. So Arian might very well have an opportunity to come and speak to the chamber or one of the other groups about Walk the Walk. Why is dog walking so important to your dog during the day? Why is it important to have someone come and visit your dog, whatever the reason might be, or what is pet's role? Not even what you do. I take that back. Not even necessarily talking about what you do, but talking about an aspect of something. So she might talk about dog behavioral problems and how to correct it, but in the meanwhile, she's setting herself up as an expert of her business. So sorry, not talking about her business, but talking about an aspect of what she knows well. And return on investment. So now that we know, we've decided how, what are the objectives? Who is our audience? What is our message? What do we want to say? Is this an awareness, or are we driving business immediately? What are the platforms? How are we going to drive it out there? Are we attending trade shows? Are we doing demonstrations, email blasts? Are we buying television or outdoor? How much are we spending? And now we need to know, how are we going to measure that? And how are we going to analyze the success of our campaign? So are we going to measure it by how many new homes did we sell during that campaign? How many new caterings did we get off of an advertisement, say, in Wedding Bell magazine? Is it about how many new people came to our website? How many new people downloaded our catalog or info video? That's what we need to be able to do. So do any of you that advertise actually spend any time looking at the return on your investment once the campaign is done? I know you do.
Yeah, when you can.
Yeah.
Sometimes not always easy to measure.
That's true, it's not. There's some things that aren't, and with the awareness it isn't. Yes, Tom?
I like to always split test, so running two different messaging, two different campaign, and just eliminate the one that didn't perform as well as the other one, and then introduce a new one, and then split test again between those two, and then split test again. So that way, I'm never looking at was it successful, was it not successful. It's more a discussion about which one worked best, which one worked best, which one worked better, and hopefully it always gets better.
That's true. That's easy to do. One of the easiest ways to do that is with your social media campaigns, but you could also do that with outdoor or radio ads. You could run two different ads, see which one is getting the most response.
So say with a radio ad, how would you know which one to respond to?
If you would have to have a call to action. Does radio want to take this? Because this is something that you...
Well, actually,
My radio.
while you guys are talking, I was Jana has a customer, and he spends a lot of his marketing dollars pushing people to his website. And he looks at when the spots run and then looks for increased activity on his website. And it is an excellent way for him to,
So you can see if it's peaked. So just at the end of the month, I will show him what time his commercials run on each day. So he goes online and looks and he'll see a peak.
Corresponding.
That's short time frame, yeah. So it's a great indicator for him.
Exactly.
Elizabeth, on radio, to answer your question, one of our advisory members, James Wall from James Wall Plumbing, I'm not sure how many folks remember him, but he would always have two different, say, summer air conditioning packages. So you'd have package A and package B, and the package A would be the champion from the last year. They'd be slightly different pricing packages and slightly different offers, and whichever one people came in and bought the most. And sometimes he'd put two, he would have a different 800 number on either one as well, so whichever phone got the most rings. So he figured out, and he did what you're talking about, he gradually continued to reform the packages till he got to the point where that was just kind of the goal that people were wanting.
M&M, we did that too with an event where
Oh,
the advertising was exactly the same, but the coupon code was different. So one coupon code would be CGUB, and the other one would be TSN. And we ran the exact same ad on both, and counted how many TSN coupon code we got compared to how many CGUB coupon we got.
It's a really great way to, there's two different examples. The example Don gave was the exact same ad with two different codes on same types of mediums, but two different stations.
Same voice too, same
Everything
everything.
was the same. And that's a great way to say, hey, figure out where your target audience is. What are they listening to? Or what show are they watching? Or what magazine are they reading? Whatever it might be. The one that Brad was speaking about is two different messages, but to help you understand what messaging does your target audience best react to. We had a fellow that used to be part of the MMN group, and he had a restaurant, and he would send out these unaddressed ad mail. It would be great, get a free appetizer on Tuesdays, or come in for Mussel Tuesdays, free pound of mussels when you buy an appetizer, whatever it might be. And he'd run that coupon, and he'd send it out to one area, similar neighborhood, but half the street would get this, half the neighborhood would get this coupon, and half the neighborhood would get same thing, same type of deal, but different messaging, and see which ones brought in the greatest return. So split test marketing or split test advertising is really great. And it helps you to do a better job of spending your advertising dollar. Because again, we don't have deep pockets. So we really need to know that our advertising dollar is giving us the biggest return on our investment. And to do that, you really need to understand what is giving me the best hit. Am I hitting the right target market? Is my messaging driving action?
Just going to add, because the question was, how do you determine radio? Our adage is always one spot, one thought. And you can't crowd, plenty of free parking, great friendly staff, here's the bargain, by the way, we're blowing out furniture, and oh, yes, we offer dog walking, because it's lost. People can only focus on one thing at a time. So keep the message simple. One spot, one thought.
Absolutely true. People can only hear so much at a time and keep that message locked in their head. And the same for outdoor. They've only got a few seconds to make an impact. And even on television, there are some wonderful ads that are longer and they're unwind a whole story that might capture your attention. But most television advertising, they have to get the message in very quickly. The rest of the ad is fluff around it, but that message is one thing. We're having a sale. It's this Saturday. It's in our parking lot. Get down. Done. There we go. Before we go into the case study, were there any other thoughts or questions on what we talked about here?
Just want to add a 2 cents on what I measure for, let's say, for an advertisement on Facebook. that will lead to a download to a piece of content. So I'm measuring and how many downloads did we get from that ad. And then that piece of content to measure its effectiveness, which basically the matrix is how many appointments did we get from that many downloads. So we have a certain document that was downloaded 1,000 times, and it turns out that 100 people, 10% took action. Call us. That would be really good. But it's just at different stage, measure different things.
Yes, Karen?
I was really glad to see that you had the advertising budget not once but twice on this slideshow, because the other half of my role is a business consultant, and I'm working with a lot of folks, and they have a real difficult time spending that money. So if you actually do an annual plan and you do a budget with that annual plan, it's just like, paying your bills at that next month. It's also your to-do list. It should be wherever you are in your safe business place, like have it on your bulletin board, and it's like, okay, I'm spending $2,000 this month, but it's giving me the opportunity to make $15,000 on whatever, Mother's Day or whatever those special days. But, if you miss the boat and don't, make sure you have the inventory, get the promotions out there, do some maybe co-op advertising with the chocolatier and the florist and whatever it might be, you won't even be able to just sit around and kick yourself in the ass for the next year because you'll be out of business, so.
Brad,
I just,
we call it an investment.
yes.
It is an investment.
Exactly, but it's scary, a lot of the clients in new businesses anyway, it's really scary to pull that money out of your bank and kind of order that printing and order that radio and order that stuff, but if you don't do it, you don't even get stuff off the basement floor.
It's true. There's a really good example of, I think it was Bluebonnet Margarine, and it was during the Second World War, and there was no margarine to be found on the grocery store shelves